Hey guys, Brian here from Liquid Concepts. So today we're going to be doing a couple of things. We've got actually some Corvette parts in. So customer has wanted us to do them in a carbon fiber, a more realistic carbon fiber. The Corvette parts, they already look really good. They got a really nice gloss. Looks like a charcoal metallic, a deep black metallic on them. They look good, but customer wants a carbon fiber. So we've got a hood vent here, and then we also have some mirror covers and the base that actually connects to it like this. So we're going to be dipping all of these in carbon fiber. And so we're going to shoot a quick little series of videos on these to get them started. And we've also got that we've already got prepped out. We've already got a lot of the other vents, like the side vents that are on the front, right behind the front tires, and then we've also got the vents that go around the tail lights and a couple of other vents. So that way, all the vents that are on the car, they're all going to match. They're all going to look awesome, and we're going to show you how to get it done. So first things first, we kind of wanted to talk a little bit about this vent here. So this vent, you can tell it's, of course, dirty, dusty, things like that. Not a big deal. We can get all that off. But the one thing is that you want to make sure of is that you got to prep it out right. And so I know we talk about this a lot, but this right here is where a sandblaster, having a sandblaster like this right here, it's really going to help out a lot. And so by having a sandblaster, we can get all the way down inside these grooves on every one of them, inside and out, all the way around, get a good bond, a good coverage, and get a good profile for our primer, our paint, our dip, and our clear to stick to. All right. Same thing with the mirror cover. So customer actually gave us the mirrors with the mirror inside. One thing, if you're going to be taking apart any C7 Corvette, these absolutely suck taking apart. Absolutely. There's a YouTube video on it. You can look it up. They have all these little bitty tiny tabs that you definitely don't want to break because I'm sure they're expensive, but we were able to get them apart. Of course, this thing, it slides apart, and so we got two different spots right here that we're going to be dipping along with this one whole cover. And so we've got the matching pair already done, and so kind of wanted to show you guys a few things about this. So these right here are already painted. They're painted from the factory. They look great. This is a factory color black. These are the actual trim pieces that they actually factory paint in that metallic color. It looks really awesome already, but we're going to make it even better and show you guys how to get awesome looking carbon fiber on this piece. So we're going to go ahead, we're going to take this, we're going to put it in the blaster, we're going to blast everything down. Whenever we get it out, it's going to look awesome. Everything's going to be completely prepped out, ready to go with it. And same thing with the mirror covers. If we wanted to, because these are so open, we could take and scuff these and it would be just fine. Take a red Scotch-Brite, scuff them, get a good profile. You can also take some sandpaper if they are in pretty bad condition or you need to smooth anything out. In this case, they're in pretty good condition. Same thing with these here. So again, we're just going to take them, put them in a sandblaster, get them all ready to go, and hope you guys enjoy the video. So let's get started. Okay, so now that we got everything sandblasted, now everything's prepped out, ready to go. Like I said, if you've got a sandblaster, especially one like this, you can throw parts in there. This thing would have took quite a bit of time trying to get in all these areas, back down in here, and it still wouldn't have been quite as good of a profile for our primer and everything to stick to, versus we can get that sandblaster, we can throw it in there, we can get it all inside those corners, those grooves, everything works out really good. So as we were sandblasting everything, we had already saw this and we knew that we had to touch this up later, but we want to go ahead and get everything sandblasted. So now that we see this, we've got a slight chip where it had already chipped. The customer had already chipped it, or it had chipped for somehow or another. And so this is a simple fix. All we're going to do is we're just going to take some 320 and lightly smooth that out, get that all nice and smooth, and then now we're ready to come back over it with our epoxy primer, and then we'll go ahead and get these all set up and ready to go. And so essentially you can see here everything is all blown off from the sandblaster. Everything is all dull, and that's kind of what you want. You want that dull finish all the way around. And so again, if you see any light spots, like where it's glossy or anything like that, you can come back, you can put it in the sandblaster again, you can go through, hit it again. And so the nice thing is, even on the underside of this right here, we've got a very dull looking finish, which is exactly what we want for our hood vents, and especially all around all of our mirror covers and everything like that. And you'll also notice whenever I was sandblasting, I went ahead and I sandblasted all inside this area right in here. Main thing is because I want to make sure that whenever we're painting everything, that we actually paint up inside here, because even though the mirror sits inset from the front face of it, you want to make sure that you do get some of the coating as much as you can inside here, or we can come back in and still black it in if we need to. But we want to make sure that we try to get as much of it as we can inside this pocket, so that way it looks more uniform, it looks more like a realistic carbon fiber. So stay tuned. We're going to go ahead, we're going to get these hung up, we're going to get these in primer and then in paint and then dip it, and then you're going to see some pretty awesome carbon fiber. So stay tuned. We've got everything all prepped out. We've got all the Corvette pieces, the mirrors, the vents, all these other vents. We've got everything all ready to go, and now we're pretty much ready to start applying our adhesion promoter for the bare plastics, and also the primer for all the plastics as well. So again, whenever you're doing something like this, you want to get a good bond. So this is the reason why we recommend doing an adhesion promoter first, to get a good bond between the plastic and then what you're about to spray over it, and then putting down a good primer, so then that way the primer really bonds in well with the adhesion promoter and the plastic, and then now you have a good strong bond that's going to hold. You can flex it, you can move it, everything's still going to hold really well. So that's going to be the start of our coating, and this is whenever you really got to make sure that everything is done right, because you don't want your coating flaking off, you know, a couple months down the road, 6 months or something like that. And so you kind of see here, we've got everything all laid out. We've got all of our vent already here. It's already blown off. We've got everything wiped down, ready to go. We've got them all hung up here. Again, with these, we've pretty much just took and put some tape across the hooks here just to kind of hold those in place. And also, so we can either use these swivels that we've got right here, so whenever we're painting we can actually swivel them just like that, or if I want to use, you know, both my racks here, I can just hold it like this, paint the whole thing all the way around, because I have full motion just like this, and then I can hang it right back, grab my next one, paint it, set it right back. I don't have to go and swap it from one to the other if I don't need to. All right. Now, one thing to remember is that on like the vent and on all of these vents right here, some of them were painted and some of them had bare plastic. And so what we're going to do is like on, for instance, something like this. This right here was all just bare plastic, but yet we had all paint down inside the outer edges of it. And so what we're going to do is we're actually going to go ahead, and because this was bare plastic and this was paint, we're actually just going to go ahead and spray mainly just in, the adhesion promoter right on this area right here. If we get the adhesion promoter over on the paint, it's not going to be a big deal, but we want to make sure that we do get a good bond on the bare plastic. So of course we know that we can make the paint and the hydrographics and everything stick to the painted part, which is over here, but we're going to spray the adhesion promoter mainly on right here. If we get it on this part over here, which is actually painted, not a big deal. It's still going to stick, it's still going to hold really well, but we do want to make sure that we try to get it on there as best we can. We're going to go ahead, get these sprayed, and again, as far as products that we're using, We're going to be using our Liquid Concepts, the adhesion promoter. It's the APO one, great adhesion promoter. And then as far as primer goes, we're going to be using the actual direct to metal epoxy primer. Now I know none of these are metal, and so it's not a problem, because the good thing about our epoxy primer that we have is that it's very flexible. It's pretty much, you can use it on any surface. And so the way that we're going to mix it is we're going to mix it as like a sealer. So it's going to be a really thin layer of primer, but it's going to be very flexible, and it's still going to give us a really good bond. And so we're going to go ahead, we're going to get all those sprayed. Again, we're going to spray our adhesion promoter first, spray our epoxy primer after that, and then we'll be ready for the paint, and then we're ready for the dipping, which everybody's going to enjoy. So stay tuned. We're going to go ahead, get these sprayed, and we'll see you in just a little bit. Alright, so we've got everything all primered. We've already started a couple of these just to kind of give you guys a shot of what the paint would look like, but like I said before, we went through, we shot everything with the adhesion promoter. So we got adhesion promoter on all the bare plastic areas, and then now we've got primer in all of the areas that need to be painted. And so we've got everything, like even on this part right here, we've got it front as well as back, so then that way it's fully covered all the way around. Even got it back inside all of these areas in here. Again, you want to make sure you get it really good because you want everything to stick. And so same thing, even on these little runners that we got going on right here, we hit them on this side and that side, that side, and that side, just to make sure you get a good bond. So we've already went ahead and started painting some of these mirrors, and so what we're going to be doing is it's going to be a black and clear film. And so what we're going to be using is going to be the dark charcoal metallic base coat that we've got. And so it's pretty much just it's a real high metallic. It looks really awesome, and it looks really good underneath a lot of our darker color carbon fibers. And so the carbon fiber that we're going to use is going to be the 282. It's the CF-282. I'll put the link in it below, and we're going to be dipping all of these pieces in that. To us, that is one of the most realistic looking carbon fibers. Again, you're never going to make dipped carbon fiber look like the real carbon fiber, but you can make it look really close. And so by using this color combination with the dark charcoal metallic gray and that carbon fiber, that really makes it look really good, and of course good high gloss on it. You're going to have an excellent looking product. So we're going to go ahead, we're going to finish painting all of these. We're going to get all these painted, and then we're going to go in there and get everything all put together. So stay tuned. Alright, so we got everything sprayed. We went ahead and we moved everything to this one cart, so that way we can move everything out there all at once, have it all ready to go. Makes it a lot more portable, a lot more easier to maneuver with. So as you can see, we've got everything all completely sprayed in our dark charcoal metallic gray. Everything looks great. It came out great. It's really nice and smooth. And so now we're going to go ahead and get them out there. We're going to start dipping them, laying out our film, getting everything ready to go. And this is whenever I think you guys are really going to enjoy this, because we're going to be showing how to do all of these pieces, because some of these are pretty intricate as far as like the vents on these here, making this part match this part, which matches that part, and all of that, because it is going to be a carbon fiber. So whenever these two pieces go together like that, and then those two go onto here, especially on a carbon that's going to be a directional pattern, you got to make sure that all of those line up. And so we're going to be going through, talking a little bit about that, and I think you guys are really going to enjoy it, so stay tuned. Everything ready to go. It's all been painted, it's all been primered, it's all been prepped out. Now we're ready for the fun part. So we're going to go ahead and get this dipped and get it ready to go. So on something like this with the vents, this is actually going to be the top side. So one thing that we want to make sure of is that we get the dip all the way down inside that. So technically you could actually dip this. It's one of the very few parts that you could dip just directly down just like that, and it would work. but it wouldn't cover all the way up inside these areas like this as much as possible. And so what we're going to do is we're actually going to take and we're going to dip it at a pretty steep angle like this, going downward. And then what that's going to do is it's going to allow that film to go all the way up inside this as much as possible before it gets broken off by this next edge. And then same thing, let it go up in here, and then it breaks off, and then same thing and same thing like that. And so then as we get towards the end, we're going to slightly turn it just a little bit and let it go all the way up in here, and then we'll just continue it on down. So again, the only parts that'll ever be seen is going to be this part, so we can actually hold it just like this, and then as we dip it down in the water, everything will come out really good. So we're going to leave that just like that, the way that we need to dip it. We got our dividers already set and ready to go, and so now we can go ahead and get our film and set it down into the water. And so again, nothing special about this. Got a little bit of excess there, it's not a big deal. We can just set that down like that, and then lay it out corner to corner just like normal, and then there you go. So now we'll go ahead and pull our dividers on in. There we go. Alright, perfect. So I'm going to go ahead and actually pull this over just a little bit, and then we will put our dividers down. Looks like everything looks pretty good. Everything is laying out really good. I didn't really need to blow that out, but I figured it's not going to hurt anything, so we'll go ahead and just get this all ready to go. So we got about 40 seconds on the clock. Again, we're going to let it sit for about 60 seconds on the water, 80 to 90 degrees, and then spray it with the activator. So we'll get some gloves on and then get started. So now that we've got that line will come out just like that whenever we hit it with the activator. So we'll go ahead, spray our activator across the film. Alright, so now that we've got everything glassed out, everything looks good. So again, we're going to take this, we're going to keep it at a pretty steep angle, and we're just going to start right down here at the bottom and then keep it lined up to where it's at a 45-degree angle, and then just start dipping it down just like this. And so we're just going down slowly, just down into the water, not making a big rush out of it. And then at this last edge, we'll go ahead and just roll it back. And so now that we've got everything, kind of move it around, and that right there is how you dip a Corvette hood vent and get all of the carbon to go all the way down inside the recessed areas, just like what you need. So I think that came out really nice. The customer's really going to love that. We'll get a good quality clear on there, and then hit it, and we'll be good to go. So again, on something like this, we've got a little bit of excess that had kind of wrapped over. We can come back in. We'll spray all of these probably in black, just to kind of cover up anything that might be seen on it, and then that way it looks a lot more uniform. Everything looks really nice and clean on it, and we'll be good to go. So I think this will look really nice. The customer's really going to be happy with it. So we'll get it rinsed off and get it going. Alright, so we got everything dipped, and then we got everything touched up, and now we got everything clear coated. So I think everything came out awesome. It's got a really high gloss finish on it. They look awesome. Everything looks just like the customer wanted, and just like we wanted, which is going to be that real looking depth on the carbon fiber. It's got a really great shine to it, and all of these came out really good looking. So like I said, we went ahead, we sprayed these with a high gloss, Everything came out excellent. We're really happy with it. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you got any questions or comments, definitely leave them below. We'd love to hear from you guys. We always love doing these videos and the weekly tips and tricks. So definitely stay tuned and subscribe if you haven't already. And then that way you can definitely get all of these awesome tricks and tips delivered directly to you right whenever we post them. So I'm Brian from Liquid Concepts, and we're making hydrographics great again.